Hi, welcome to the Federal. Today it's about booze, but the story is not what's in the bottle. A tax slab, a budget announcement, a seemingly technical change buried among hundreds of pages of budget documents. Yet, over the last few days, nothing in Kerala's budget has generated as much debate as the government's decision to create a separate tax regime for low alcohol beverages. The controversy is not really about alcohol percentages, it's about the intent. It's about governance and it is about whether the government is opening a new market in the name of reform. Let's understand what exactly has happened. In the revised state budget, the government introduced a separate tax structure for beverages containing between 0.5 to 20% alcohol. Products with alcohol content between 0.5 and 10% will attract a sales tax of 120%, while those between 10 to 20 will attract 175%.
വീര്യം കുറഞ്ഞ ബിയറും വൈനും അല്ലാത്ത വീര്യം കുറഞ്ഞ മദ്യം എന്നുള്ള കാറ്റഗറി ഉണ്ടാക്കിയത് പിണറായി സർക്കാരാണ്. ഞങ്ങളെടുത്ത തീരുമാനമല്ല. വീര്യം കുറഞ്ഞ മദ്യം കേരളത്തിൽ പ്രോത്സാഹിപ്പിക്കണമെന്നത് അവരുടെ പോളിസിയുടെ ഭാഗമായിട്ട് കൊണ്ടുവന്നതാണ്. പക്ഷെ അവരിത് പറഞ്ഞു മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ, അതിന് ടാക്സ് ഫിക്സ് ചെയ്തില്ല. അതിന് ടാക്സ് ഫിക്സ് ആണ്, പർട്ടിക്കുലർ ടാക്സാണ്. വീര്യം കൂടിയ മദ്യത്തിൻ്റെയും ബിയറിൻ്റെയും വൈനിൻ്റെയും ടാക്സ് അല്ലാതെ ഞങ്ങളൊരു ടാക്സ് ഫിക്സ് ചെയ്തു.
Low alcohol beverages in this context refer less to traditional categories like beer or wine, which are already widely available in Kerala, and more to newer ready-to-drink mixes, flavoured alcoholic beverages, and spirit-based coolers with lower alcohol content. These are typically sweeter, lighter, and marketed as casual or lifestyle drinks rather than conventional liquor. The mention of Bacardi becomes significant because its ready-to-drink products, especially the Bacardi Breezer, fall squarely within this segment. Until now, many of these products were effectively taxed at rates similar to hard liquor, making their entry to Kerala market commercially unattractive. The government's argument is fairly straightforward. Officials say Kerala already has a drinking culture dominated by hard liquor. If consumers gradually move towards beverages with lower alcohol content, the overall social and health burden associated with high proof liquor may reduce. They also argue that this is not an overnight idea. Applications and proposals for introducing such a category had been pending even during previous governments. What has changed now, critics point out, the speed. The process appears to have moved unusually fast after the current UDF government came to power. And that is where the story takes a political turn. Because what could have remained a policy discussion has now escalated into a full-blown procedural controversy. Reports suggest that even the excise minister was not fully in the loop when key decisions were being processed. The assembly has already witnessed stormy scenes over the issue, with the opposition alleging that due process was bypassed. The opposition's argument is sharp and specific. They say the report about a file proposing tax concessions for Bacardi is extremely serious. The concerned department is the Excise Department, and they claim it had not even examined the file. According to the opposition, this is not just a policy disagreement. It is a violation of rules and business and Article 166 of the Constitution itself. Their argument is that this is not a case where the cabinet overruled a departmental position. Instead, they allege that a decision was taken without the knowledge of the department and the minister to whom the excise business is officially assigned under the rules of business framed under Article 166. That, they say, amounts to a clear constitutional violation. There is also a political claim layered on the top of this. M. Liju, the excise minister, has reportedly stated that he was unaware of the developments. The opposition has gone further, calling it a constitutional violation with corruption at its core, and has demanded the resignation of Chief Minister V.D. Satish. These are serious allegations. At this point, they remain just allegations. The government's defense is that the policy is category based, not company specific. It argues that any manufacturer producing beverages within the prescribed alcohol range can benefit. It also maintains that the intent is to shift consumption patterns, not to promote a particular brand or company. Supporters of the move point to global trends and tourism markets where lighter alcoholic beverages are widely available. They argue Kerala was lagging behind because an impractical tax structure. On paper, that still sounds reasonable, but politics rarely unfolds on paper. Because even if the idea has merit, the manner of its execution has raised questions the government has not fully answered. If this was a long pending proposal, why does it now appear rush? If this is about public health, why was the communication so weak that it quickly turned into a brand specific controversy? And most importantly, if due process was followed, why is there even a perception that key stakeholders within the government were not informed? That is where the government's problem lies. Not just in the policy, but in the optics. Because right now, the signal many people are receiving is not about moderation, it is about market expansion. And layered on top of that is a more serious concern whether procedure was compromised in pushing that expansion. The low alcohol beverage debate is therefore no longer just about taxation, it's about trust. It's about whether the government can convincingly argue that this is a transparent, well thought out policy intervention, or whether it will remain in public perception a fast track decision that raised more questions than it answered. Until that clarity emerges, this controversy is not going away.